Hey there everyone, this is Samuel Johnson and welcome back to the Alien Force Retrospectives, and today we're going to be looking at episode 7 of Ben 10 Alien Force, Peer Pressure. And in this episode, Ben goes on a date. His first date, I assume, I don't know. Maybe he went on a date in the 5 years between Alien Force and Classic Ben 10, whatever. But pretty much, he decides to ask out this girl named Julie Yamamoto, as we see from her name on a scoreboard. And we had seen Julie prior to this episode, as she had appeared briefly in the Ben 10 Returns two-parter after Ben won his soccer game. But here, Ben, Gwen, and Kevin are watching her do a tennis match, since she's actually a tennis player. And well, at least Ben and Gwen are watching. Kevin is asleep Kevin's asleep in the bleachers somewhere. And so after the game is over, Ben racks up the nerve to pretty much ask her on a date. She ends up saying yes, and they decide to go on a date to amusement park on the pier by Billwood. However, when they get to the pier, pretty much the place is deserted. Well, yeah. When they get to the pier, Ben starts getting ambushed by various carnival rides, which I might as well just say it now because it's pretty freaking obvious. Pretty much this small galvanic mechamorph, aka Upgrade, is stalking Ben. It's trying to find him, and every time, no matter where Ben goes, it merges with one of the carnival rides and chases after him. And every time it comes near, the Omnitrix starts beeping and just kind of becoming an annoyance. So as such, several times Ben has to either ditch Julie or hide her somewhere so he can run away from this thing. And distracted. He manages to get it out of the way once when it merges with a bumper car, but after he manages to get rid of it, it merges with a jet simulator ride, which is pretty much a jet, or is pretty much the size of a jet. It merges with that, and it chases after Ben. He ends up going alien and fighting it, but he had to hide Julie away in a storage shed, and she winds up during the fight, she gets caught in the crossfire, so Ben moves out of the way, and, well, the Upgrade sees it, and so after Ben takes care of it and causes it to crash into another ride, which is I think a Tilt-A-Whirl. Don't quote me on that. Maybe not the Tilt-A-Whirl. Whatever that thing is where you're spinning around with all the swings. I don't remember what it's called. I don't remember rides. I remember a lot of things. I really need to do research. But bottom line, it crashes into that and goes in under the pier, and thus when Ben catches up with Julie, he acts like he didn't see anything, but it ends up merging with that, and it takes Julie. As such, Ben goes jet ray to fly after it. He manages to track it down to some area in the woods. But it turns out that the Upgrade has not hurt Julie at all. And Ben, when he confronted it, he said, "Where's Julie?" And Julie heard that. So she wants to know, how does this alien know who she is? And so Ben reveals a secret to her, and, well, she's kind of okay with it. And admittedly, part of me is a little confused by that, but at the same time, she and Ben are teenagers, so I guess you could say that even though they're a little bit more mature, they're still kind of like kids, so yeah, they probably would think of this stuff. Probably would think this stuff is cool. She probably would still think this stuff is cool, even though they're older. So I don't know. However, as they're having this cute little moment, the Upgrade seems to keep going after Ben, but only this time now it appears to be saying something. It keeps repeating the word ship over and over and over. And then points over to a wreckage, and it turns out that there's a spaceship crash landed nearby. So Ben, Julie, and the Upgrade go to check it out, and the Upgrade demerges with it, and as I said, I think it's just small, the size of a dog, and even acts like a dog. Speaking of dog, hold on a second. Sorry about that. I had to let my dog out of my room. But anyway, it directs them over to the ship, and it turns out that inside the crash ship is another Upgrade. Only this one, This one kind of looks similar to how Ben looked, except instead of white, it's green, and it seems to be trapped under some kind of it seems to be trapped under something, under some kind of part, and right next to it appears to be is just this weird relay that seems to be shooting off all these alien symbols one after the other. They're wondering what's going on. And so Ship, as the small upgrade is called, it winds up showing it manages to relay a message that it's going to explode, that the ship is going to explode, and that the thing there inside is actually a timer, and that is counting down. So Ben goes alien, and he goes up, or Humongousaur anyway. He goes inside. He manages to get inside because there's a small shield that fries anything that touches it. And I guess Humongousaur is more durable than that, as he's able to get through, grab the thing that's about to explode, and he chucks it into the sky. As such, he then helps the upgrade up, who I'm going to say the upgrade's name now because they encounter him, because he's encountered later on in the series. His name is Basil, and for some reason he's British. Don't know how, but he is. Sorry for a sec. There we are. But pretty much, essentially, his ship crashed, and I don't know how it crashed. Apparently, I don't know how or why a ship crashed, but essentially, when it did, he used his powers to pretty much split a small part of himself off to create Ship. And pretty much Ship's mission was to find the nearest plumber and bring him back to help him. And bring the plumber, you know what I mean. But because of this, which was why the beeping was going off, that was Ship sending out a distress signal asking for help. And because Ben is unfamiliar with the Omnitrix and its controls, he had absolutely no idea what was going on. So, as such, and they even ask, well, why did it keep attacking us? It's because, well, Basil really needed help, and Ship is not really that smart, as we see. As like I said, he has the mentality of a dog. All he knew was, need to get my master help, so that guy's a plumber, or at least that's what I'm telling him. So, Ben originally thinks maybe just leave him alone, whatever, because he's kind of being rude to them. So, but pretty much Julie talks Ben into helping Basil repair his ship. Everything goes well, and but he doesn't take ship. But Basil doesn't take ship back. So the small upgrade, not his own ship. He uses that, and he flies away, and pretty much Julie and Ben are left to walk home because after using the Omnitrix so many times that night, it shut down to recharge. So pretty much Ben and Julie have now grown closer. They had while Julie admits this was a different date, she actually did enjoy herself a little, and Ship then goes chasing after a truck. So case in point, this episode's actually rather cute. There's nothing really grand, or there's no big bad guy going around that wants to stop anything. It really is just a cute episode. Pretty much the whole crux of the episode is Ben kind of maturing a little. And that's kind of what's shown throughout the episode. There were several times in the episode where I stopped the episode and realized that's Ben. I can tell that's Ben, but he's matured. Like, when Ben asks Julie out, he's stammering and going and being nervous like any other teenager, but it's a special kind of Ben weirdness. Like, if you go back to the Ben Wolf episode when Ben met Kai, he had this kind of same blubberiness to him, same nervousness, and just kind of same general attitude. The only difference was that 10-year-old Ben was more full of himself, and as such, he kind of tried playing himself up more too. 15-year-old Ben is more mature, and as such, he kind of doesn't play himself up as much. And while he wants to look nice to Julie, he knows that he can't just praise himself all the time, which is really nice. And then there's even the times when and then of course there's the time when Ben is going up against Ship. It's still in many cases it's similar to how Ben would face it, and when he was 10, like. When Ship first encounters him, he doesn't go alien. He instead chases after him, and he manages to trick Ship using Ben's usual creativity. He gets his jacket and pretends to be a matador, and then when Ship charges at him, because Ship's moved to the bumper car. I already mentioned that. I think I mentioned that. Yeah. So when Ship charges at him, Ben pulls his jacket out of the way, and ship smashes into a pole or water hydrant or whatever because he didn't see it. It's Ben's signature brand of creativity. But then later on, when ship captures Julie, Ben's going after his jet ray. He knows I can't shoot at the thing. I can't shoot at that thing because I might hit Julie. So I'll do something else. It's Ben maturing, and on top of that, there's his relationship with Julie. Admittedly, it's nothing special, at least in this point, but it's cute. It's nice seeing Ben get nervous about going on a date. It's nice seeing it, and at this point, Julie doesn't really have a character mode, so to speak. She's just kind of token girlfriend at this point. I'm not saying that she doesn't become anything, because she does as the series goes on. She does have her character. She does actually have her own role to play. It's actually it's nice. She does mature, but at this point she's just kind of the token girlfriend character as she sees Ben having his superpowers. She thinks it's cool, and she just thinks he's different, and that's fine. As such, I think Actually, I think the only other thing I want to talk about... There are two other things I want to talk about. First one I want to talk about is something that really is honestly something that's not very special to the episode, but it's a new alien, so I gotta talk about it. This is the episode that shows us another new alien. This one is, I think, alien number 7, Brainstorm. And pretty much Brainstorm, I don't like his design. Brainstorm is pretty much a giant crab. He has... His head is huge. He's got 2 pincers on the side of him. He's got a little belt where the Omnitrix symbol is, and under that belt's his lower half with all his multiple legs. Pretty much, Brainstorm's design looks cluttered, if you ask me. I think it just kind of looks cluttered, especially in Alien Force. But I think what makes up for it are his powers and, ironically, personality, which is something that Benton aliens don't have. They don't have personality. I mean, whenever Ben transforms, he usually gets some kind of new powers or some kind of new perspective, like with Gray Matter, but Brainstorm is different. Like Gray Matter, he's super smart, hence why he's called Brainstorm. His giant head holds a large brain, but it makes him super intelligent, and he speaks in a refined British manner. He uses large words and sentences. Like when Ben first transforms, I think I can quote his very first line with very little inaccuracy. He said, "I'm not Jet Ray. I'm a seafood platter. And supposedly one with a highly advanced intellect. Perhaps I should assign this new life form a rather apropos nom de guerre. Let's say Brainstorm." And okay, yeah, that was total fanboy right there, and I think I got one word wrong. But that's pretty much Brainstorm in a nutshell. He's smart, he's cool, and he's smart, and I honestly do like his powers. They are very impressive, but I do like the fact that he's not just smart. He can shoot lightning out of his brain, create force fields. He can telekinetically lift people. It's rather nice. He's a cool alien. I'll admit he's not on my favorites list, so to speak. Actually, if he was on my list, he's probably kind of near the bottom. But he is on my... But actually, yeah, he is on my list, just kind of somewhere near the bottom. He's a very cool alien, I will not lie. I think I just don't like his design. I honestly do not like the design. That's my only problem with Brainstorm. Everything else makes him cool. And then finally, while I'm talking about it, I'm going to talk about Ship. Ship is kind of adorable. Ship is I suppose you can say, character that really is kind of one note. Like I said, he's a dog character, but really he's just kind of he's part of the central conflict, but he's not really integral at this point. He's pretty much a moment of setting things up for later, because Ship in this episode doesn't really do much until he comes back later. It's pretty much he doesn't really understand everything. He's curious about everything. Like his very first scene is Ship's very first scene is the very first scene in the episode as Basil, I suppose to use Ben's words, glorps him out. Hold on a second. Sorry about that. Dog was being a putz. So anyway, but we're talking about dogs anyway. Ship is curious about every little thing. Like, his very first scene, as he's glorped out by Basil, he merges with a truck, or I suppose you can say he merges with a truck and pretty much just goes to town with it, and even scaring the truck driver. At which point, you see the truck the next day. Ship just threw it off the road. At which point, when a police officer is going to check it out, Ship merges with his car and takes off, which is where Ship finds Ben. And that's when Ship eventually finds Ben. Ship is just is just naturally curious. He's just a little dog that likes learning new tricks. So it's just essential. That's all his character really is, and it works. It works. He's just cute, which really is this whole episode. It's just cute. It doesn't really have the same flick. It kind of is a nice. I think I can easily say it's kind of a blend of classic Ben 10 and the maturity of this series, as there's enough silly things to keep you entertained, but there's enough maturities to know that things are are still a little above that. Complete with one, I think my best scenes being Julie. Like, I think the best scene to mark this occasion being Julie when she states that when she thinks Ben being a superhero is cool. It's nothing. And I think, and this episode, before we even start, this episode also marks one of the reasons I love Kevin in this show. Because I mentioned in my Kevin 11 vlog that Kevin was one of my favorite characters regardless of his incarnation, whether as a villain or as an ally. And this episode shows why I love him. 16-year-old Kevin is a smartass, and I love him for it. Pretty much, he falls asleep during a tennis match and does not apologize for it. And then Ben, because Ben needed a ride to get him and Julie to the pier. Pretty much, what makes it work, what makes it nice is that when Ben asks Kevin for help, Kevin is told that Ben's gonna ask him, so he goes to Ben's house, and what does he do? He breaks his door. He breaks his back door with absorbing a hand, and then after he says, "Yeah, okay, I'll drive you," Ben knows he's gonna make his life a living hell once they get in the car. At which point, when Kevin leaves, he intentionally breaks his doorknob just to be a dick. And one of my favorite scenes in the episode is when Kevin and Gwen are driving Ben and Julie to the amusement pier. He just starts giving Ben crap. Like, he acts like one of those old parents from one of those old shows, like, "Now remember, Benny boy, be back by 9 or you can't go to the disco." It's just funny. And he just loves giving Ben crap. And that's why I like older Kevin. Even though he's not a bad guy anymore, he loves to torture Ben, and it's just fun to watch. So, again, on the whole, it's just a cute episode. Nothing really big in advancement comes up. It sets up some things for later, namely with Ship, and it helps introduce Julie in. And though in the beginning she is just kind of the token girlfriend, but again, it's a start. And as the series goes on, she does get more development. So, anyway, I guess that's really all I have to say. There isn't much to talk about this episode. I kind of rambled on, but anyway, that's really all there is to talk about for this episode. It's just cute, so yeah. Thank you for watching. I'm Samuel Johnson, and tune in next week where we look at an episode that I am both looking forward to and loathing all at the same time. So, yeah. Again, thank you for watching. I'm Samuel Johnson, and I will see you next week. Take care.